Okay. Welcome, Rosemary. Nobody else is showing up, but we have to start. Otherwise, the time is going out to go through the whole module. So this is the second part of the last module, module 5 for you because you have started with the first one. And for all of you who are watching the video and you have started throughout the course, of course, you continue with module 1 in July. So let's take it off where we left yesterday. We are talking about essential healing. And what's on today on the plate? Hang on, here's Charlotte coming. So what's on the plate today is we are talking about internal constellations with training session. So we want to do a training session. We are talking about floor anchors. We're talking about essential oils, breathing exercises, guided meditation, and some troubleshooting because it's the last day that we meet on this round, training round. I'm going to talk you through some specific cases that you might want to know and what to do in this case if it's troubling you. Okay, and we do lots of exercises tonight. So here we go. Internal constellation. What does that mean? It's my term. I have kind of invented it. I don't know if others using that. What I mean with it is you can do a family constellation without other people and without figurines or other objects. And how do you do that? Is you are going with your client in a kind of a guided meditation, and you let your client visualize internally in front of their inner eyes the constellation. And that works really, really well. I do that a lot if I can see that clients are very well connected and easily relaxing, because you need to be really relaxed to do that. And they don't need visual aids like figurines or other tools. So everything we talked about yesterday, you can do what you can do on the board with the colors and the sizes and the gender and where they place it and who is where and who's looking at whom. You can do that all internally. So now the question, of course, arises, who is facilitating, constellating, and representing in this case? Now you, or in this case me, when I do it, and you when you do it, you are facilitating, of course, right? You are the facilitator. You always stay the facilitator. But your client is constellating and representing every other family member. So what do you do when you provide a internal constellation? First of all, you need as a setup and an intro, of course, you need to prepare your client to do that. Then you have the session, and then you have a closing where you either briefly talk about the constellation or you guide your client out and before that you guide your client out of the meditative state that you put your client in, and then you can talk about the session briefly before you round everything up. Okay, so we also talk about shall we? Now we do that later. So let me talk about floor anchors before we actually do an exercise to the internal constellation. Floor anchors, or there are other terms, and it's a quite common tool in self-help or self-healing or in therapies in general, are a great tool to find decisions. And it helps heaps if you want to help your client to find a decision, for example. So how do we perform floor anchors? First of all, we have briefly talked about that yesterday. We have sheets of paper, and in the sheets of papers, you put names. Like when I said you can constellate or facilitate a family constellation with using, instead of figurines, instead of using other people, instead of using any other object, just place sheets of paper with the name of the family member on the floor, and then ask your client to go onto this paper, in socks, onto this paper, and then represent this person in their own constellation. The same technique is when we use floor anchors for decision making. So there are other uses of floor anchors that are beneficial, not only decision making. Sometimes it's also great to find the issue to work with. When a client comes and wants a constellation, they often come, oh, I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 different topics I want to look at. Yeah? And then they said, so there's my workplace, and then there's, hi, Charlotte.
Hello, technical issues, sorry.
That's no worries. It seems everybody else other than Rosemary seems to have technical issues as well. I don't know what's going on.
We've got a storm here, and sometimes it knocks out my internet, but actually I
heard the last...
Yeah, but I heard the last 10 minutes, but I just couldn't get my video working, so...
Oh, well, you heard it. That's good. Okay. So, we can not only use floor anchors for decision making, but also find the issue to work with. So I repeat, we have often coming clients, they have 3 or 4 issues. One is a workplace, they have problems with their boss. Then they have an issue with the partnership maybe. Then they have a health issue to look at, and then they have an issue with the mother or something, yeah? So then the client comes to you and says, I don't know, I have all these 4 issues. And of course, you know you're not going to work on all 4 issues. They might be related, and you do a constellation, you pick a topic, and it might ripple to all the other issues, and might not. You don't know that, but you definitely have to pick one to start with. So one of the methodologies to find what is the topic that is now in the foreground or the most important one for the client right now would be the use of floor anchors. Again, you not put the name of family members on the piece of papers, but the issues. Yeah. So you would have, like in this example with these 4 issues, you would get 4 blank sheets of paper and write work, what was the other one? Work, partnership, health, and what was the 4th one? Mother on it, yeah? And then you would turn them upside down, you mix them first, you turn them upside down, and so nobody knows, not you, not the client knows what is written under what. And then you place them in the room, in your clinic room or wherever you work, and then you ask the client to step on the paper and they are immediately representing practically themselves within this issue, yeah? And then you would see, and we go through that, by the reaction of the client, if this is... Sorry, I have an alarm here. What is this?
We just had that too. It's like a test from the national emergency people.
How annoying!
It's all go, isn't it? I just had a panic attack. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to another lockdown.
They're hacking our phones. You can't turn it off because it's on work. This phone is on work. That means I get no notifications.
It's crazy, isn't it?
This is why Rosemary doesn't have this problem. She doesn't have a handy, not a mobile.
Yeah, I only have my piece of plywood painted in black paint.
I love that. That's your hand. Your mobile. Well, anyhow, this is quite freaky. Honestly.
It's weird, isn't it? Like, we don't have that in the UK. They never send mass national messages like this.
No, but when I lived in Switzerland and Germany, we didn't have that. But this is a new thing. I guarantee you that's everywhere now.
It's freaky. It's like, what do they call it? Big
Brother's watching you. Of course it is. Of course it is. They're also watching this right now.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
But I don't care. But this is really not nice. Thank you, but no thank you. To interrupt us like this. Okay. So now you have your client in front of you, and by the reaction of your client, not knowing what's on the piece of paper, so not knowing what they are representing, so the mind is not involved. The mind is not involved. They have their preferences, but they don't know. You see which topic is appropriate to work with, making a constellation or regression or whatever you choose to work with, with your client. So a couple of tricks, tips and tricks. Let me go through that first. Write it down, Rosemary, your question. Let me go through this first. I might answer the question while I go through, and then if you still have a question, then we discuss it, yeah? So the tricks and tips when you work with floor anchors are use short words. It's really important. So you don't write the whole issue on the piece of paper. It's really one word, like mother, relationship, work, something like that, right? Or if there's a decision to be made, like a client wants to decide what car to buy, and he has sourced 3 cars that he can't decide which one. Then you just write the brand or the name of the car on there. Nothing, no stories, right? So it's really important. No stories, short words. Add an empty sheet. That is something I found out is very valuable, because sometimes what the client has in his mind is not the whole picture. There is, as you know, always something else as well that is not included. And when the client reacts the most to the blank sheet of paper, then you can forget everything that he had in his mind before, right? So that is really, or in the case of a decision making, let's say in the case of the car, the blank sheet of paper would mean it's none of these 3. Yeah, because if you don't use this blank sheet of paper, then the client has to decide. And so you watch your client, and there will be one stronger reaction than the other, and then that would be one of the cars. Yeah. But it's just relative to the others better. But it doesn't mean that that's the one for him. If you add a blank sheet of paper and the blank sheet of paper is the one that he reacts the most to, then you know it's none of the cars, right? So this blank sheet of paper is really, really important. I would not use more than 4 anchors at a time, because you really, you need to make a decision. And the client needs to focus, and I find it confusing, and it doesn't help if it's more than that. And normally you can nail it down to 3 or 4. And then what is really important is to observe the first reaction. So you need to be prepared. It's not like you sit on your desk and you write the sheet of papers, and then you put the sheet of papers down, and while you still write papers, he already goes on one and then on the other while you are still writing, yeah? And then you go up and then say, okay, let me see, what have you done? That's, you lost the first moment. The first moment is the most important. Because there's an instant reaction when they're representing the sheet of paper, and that is what you need. An instant, the reaction that comes in the first instant. So what is kind of reactions? First of all, body language. I don't know whether you know that, but you can test energetically everything by holding it and see if your body sways forward or backwards. Did you know that? No? Rosemary, you know that, Charlotte. So if you go in the supermarket and you don't know if the food is good for you, energetically speaking, you just grab the food, put it here somewhere in your chest, and then watch if you slightly go backwards or slightly go forward. If you go forward, it's good for you. If you go backward, you are rejecting it energetically. So you put it back, right? can do the same with allergies. You can do the same. You can do that with people, even if you're not sure if you like somebody or not. You can take a photo or something. So this is the most important reaction. Now, when we are doing decision making, floor anchors with the client, then obviously the swaying forward is pro the decision, and the swaying backward is against it, right? Okay. Phase, of course, and this is also because you need to see this it's subtle, swaying forward or backwards by watching the client from the side. So you can't stand in front of the client or behind. You need to watch the client from the side so you can see if there is a swaying forward or backwards. And this is why you need to be prepared, so you tell your client not to step until you are in the right position. And you need to see the side of the client from every piece of paper that he's stepping on. So now you have, your observation. Of course, sometimes he's not swaying back and forward. So then what is the next hint? It would be in the face. So in the face, if you see a slightly sign of relief, a smile, even a subtle one, or a sigh, or a deep breath is the most obvious, then it's a positive reaction. If you see somebody is holding the breath, or frowning, or trying to coughing, or trying to swallow, or something like that, that's a negative reaction, So not for the decision. And then the third, if you have no hints after the body language and the facial expression, then you talk to your client and you ask him how he feels standing on there. And then he would either say, I'm feeling neutral, I don't feel anything, or they would say, I feel slightly anxious, or I'm quite happy, I like it here. So that's an obvious reaction then, yeah? Okay, pro or con the decision. And then when you have made up your mind because you have observed the reaction of the client and you know it's pro or con, you don't need to know anything else. Or actually three. It's neutral, it's for or against. That's what you need to know. Then you either write in your notes or you make a mental note what you have seen on this particular sheet. Yeah? And then you ask your client to step to the next one. It should be about 1 meter apart, not closer. Yeah? So you need a little bit of space. It should be 1 meter apart. And also, another tip is to let the client look at something neutral. So don't let him look when he stands to a picture or a painting. Yeah, let him look at a white wall. That would be the best. Or a wooden wall. Or if there's a window, close a curtain. Let him look at the closed curtains or something like that. Yeah. So there's nothing to connect with visually. Because it's good not to close the eyes, because if they sway, it's a little bit unstable, and they may, I think it's better to have eyes open with the client. It's also good to see the eyes when the client steps on the paper. So now go.
What is, you just mentioned about eyes closed. Is that your rule in general? Like everyone keep their eyes open?
Yeah.
Is that because people just drift off into another planet entirely, or?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
They're just internalizing all their emotions and they are not really working.
They're just going into dreamland rather than being present.
Exactly. They are in La La Land. That's actually a very good point, Charlotte. Remind me to discuss that when I finish this section here, because I probably haven't talked about that before, but I made some really interesting observations just in the last month, really, or half year, which I probably haven't included in the course yet. So that is the observation and the reaction you get from the client. And I can assure you it tells everything. It absolutely tells everything. So I'm not quite sure if we can, we don't exercise that here, but you can do that with your friends. It's so much fun as well, right? Exercise it on your own, of course, right? If you're able to observe yourself, you can Do it in front of the mirror, or you just feel it, no? And or do it with friends. It's a lot of fun. So let's talk, Rosemary, about your question that you had before.
No, it was the question, does he step to each piece of paper? In a way, even if it's very obvious that he likes it here, you still would let him go everywhere.
Absolutely. Because he might like it even better somewhere else.
Okay, thank you.
And then, of course, you reveal. So first of all, if he is neutral towards anything, you reveal this paper first. So you look under it, what is written there. And then you reveal the one that was negative. The reaction was negative. And then last but not least, you reveal the most positive reaction, which would be then the decision. So in case you make a decision what to constellate, and we go back to our example, work, mother, relationship, or health issue, and let's say work was neutral, mother was negative, partnership was negative, but health issue was a strong reaction, positive, strong reaction, then you would start with the health issue. Because, it's the information that we get from the morphogenetic field through him representing these issues, that's what they want us to go for, literally, yeah? If you like move forward, you want to go for it. I don't want to complicate things, but in the very odd cases, you go with the most negative reaction because this is what you are looking for. But this is a very individual case. It depends on how you ask the questions, right? But sometimes if you're looking at decision making and it is something that the client really avoids because he has a blockage, a traumatic blockage to look at a traumatic experience, then you might want to work with that. But that's normally not. Normally you go with the positive, with the most positive reaction. Okay. Now coming back to what Charlotte just asked me, eyes closed. So Bert Hellinger was very strict with it. The client sat next to him when he was talking, and sometimes he was doing some work with the client on the chair, and then he could go again. There was no constellation, no representing of others, yeah. And then he asked him to close the eyes because it's like an internal constellation. So they can close that. That was the only exemption. As soon as they start to work, everyone, including the representatives, has to have eyes open. And also my workshops, I'm very strict with opening the eyes. They can close the eyes to connect with the field for 1 or 2 or 3 seconds or breaths, but then they have to open it. Now there are a few exemptions. If somebody is lying on the floor or said, I can't open my eyes, if somebody says, I can't open my eyes, I would ask them, would you like to lie on the floor? Because to not be able to open the eyes as a representative is a hint that they might represent a dead person. And we want dead persons to lie down to see if they really are these dead persons. Because if they don't feel comfortable lying down, they wouldn't be dead. Yeah? So, open your eyes. If they can't, let them lie on the floor. If they're lying on the floor, they feel comfortable on the floor and they still want to close their eyes, that's fine. Because they are representing a dead person who is in peace. Now you have the dead persons that are lying down that have their eyes open. They are dead, but they don't know that they are dead, or they are not in peace. They are still entangled with their perpetrator most often, or the victim, whatever. Yeah. Now I have found out just lately that when you work with a client, especially online, that has the eyes closed in their own constellation, that we are dealing with a mental issue. I have had that now 3 times in a row.
That they've got a mental issue, or there's a
Yes,
mental issue in their field.
they got a mental issue. I don't want to go, I haven't observed it, I don't want to draw any big conclusions from 3 cases, but there is kind of a pattern forming in my head through these observations, that they are going towards schizophrenic when, and then this is revealed to me not only while I observe how they are permanently want to close their eyes in their own constellation. Remember, so just imagine you do a constellation, you pay for the workshop, you get to constellate. Not everybody can constellate, yeah. So you get to be called constellate. You have this issue that you want to look at. Then you choose your representatives, and then the representatives start to reveal amazing things, and you sit all the time like this. Why would you do that? Yeah.
Did you ask them to open the eyes?
Not to the client if they don't want to, just to the representatives.
So you didn't say anything?
No.
Okay.
Just to the representatives.
Have they had a constellation before?
Yeah, these are all people I don't know, and these are normally people who don't come back. As I said, you cannot work with mental impaired people. And of course, in my terms and conditions, not with family constellation. It's just not. And Hellinger was very clear with that. It's really it's a waste of time.
The only thing,
yeah,
I could think that they don't know how it works.
No, don't try to. This is not. No, this is not the case. They are in there, or they don't want to see what's going on in front of their eyes. They want to stay in their own messed up world. And this is why it doesn't work, because the minimum requirement for this work is that you want to heal. Yeah? And these are also the persons, I've also observed that complain later. That they were not happy with their constellation. This is a typical sign of somebody who is, I like to call it mentally impaired. I'm not a doctor. I don't know all these terms, but who has not all the cups in the cupboard, as we say in German. Or what is the English term?
Like not all the tools in the toolbox, or a sandwich short of a picnic.
Or all the ducks in a row?
No, that means something different.
So not all tools in the box. I like that. Yeah. So of course we would like to help everybody, and this is when somebody signed up, then they have a chance. They can change. I mean, I never say they cannot change. Yeah, that's not what I say. And if they change, then you can help. But as long as they don't change, you cannot help, right? And you don't do the change for them. They have to do it. They have to do it. So when I teach in this course that you see mentally impaired or schizophrenic people, they run around in circles in a physical workshop, or they may do this in an online workshop or something, yeah. Then now I have to add, and they might close their eyes in their own constellation. Yeah, because it happens now 3 times. Yeah.
I remember there was one time I was representing someone and I couldn't stop swaying. It was very strange, a real life relation. I was swaying and I was like, this is really weird, because I'm not, I'm quite in control of myself normally. And then the constellator said to the person, and who's this this is your aunt, what's the thing here? And the woman said she was in a mental asylum. And I was like, I can feel that,
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense with what you were just saying then.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. That's really true. That is you can. So I have one. That is the case, and you. So I tell you something else. We had a workshop that's a little bit a while ago. I don't. Well, you certainly haven't been on that. Haven't been on that. Where one who was on the training was in a workshop representing somebody, and she also started to sway like this, yeah. And then I immediately saw, like what you would see now after this training, that there must be a mental issue in the person she's representing, yeah. And then we continued with the constellation, we continued, and then a mental issue appeared in another generation. Huh? And then after this constellation was finished, as we do, we don't share much. But then in the training, and this is why I know it, when I had her on the training call, then she said to me, "I want to share with you that I was swaying because I've been taught that this is a way to connect with the field." I have never heard such a thing before, right? Honestly, I mean, you do nothing. You need nothing to. And then I said to her, "Okay, that's interesting information, but it doesn't change anything, because in this moment when you were representing, you might thought you do it because of your training, but in fact the field has chosen you because they know you're gonna sway to show us that there is a mental disease in the family," right? Isn't that brilliant?
It always works out perfectly, doesn't it? She thinks she's doing it for a reason, but it was just
Exactly.
perfect. Yeah.
It is perfect. So don't doubt these things. It is perfect how it appears. As least go with the instantaneous thing that comes up when you're facilitating. And don't question that, because this is what the field is giving you. This is a gift. Yeah, and we kind of throw it out of the window if we are starting then to rethink. And also now in the theoretical, if I would be not an experienced facilitator, if I would be a beginner and it would be a small group and somebody would sway, and then you would think, oh, maybe you think out aloud, there must be a mental illness because you're swaying, and they said, no, I'm just swaying because I'm being told to do that as a representative. Then you might back off and say, okay, then, do not listen to these things. The field has priority. Yeah? The field always has priority. The information of the field are precise and spot on and not to be questioned. Yeah? Okay, so exercise. We are doing internal constellation. We're not doing a floor anchor. We're doing an internal constellation. So I will demonstrate how that looks. And we work in groups of two, which glad you came, Charlotte. So we have a group. You can decide in your group whether you want to facilitate an internal constellation or work with floor anchors for decision making. And if you decide you work with floor anchors for decision making in the breakout room, then just let your partner give a moment and grab some papers, right? So then you write on the side of the paper like say you need 3 decisions to be made. Let's say Rosemary wants to make a decision to have a new puppy, for example. So so it would be easy. Rosemary would grab 3 pieces of paper. Yes would be on the one, no on the other, and a blank one. And then, Charlotte, you would ask her to turn the papers around so she doesn't see what's written on it, and to mix it, like blindly, mix it. Yeah? And then to spread it out on the floor without knowing. Yeah? And then, of course, it's a little bit difficult online, but then Rosemary has to put the computer in her view so you can see her from the side. And then you would ask her to step on the first paper, and then you would make your observation. Then you would ask her to step in the second paper. You make your observation. You can ask her how she feels, of course, as we discussed. Then on the third, and then you write down which is the decision you think she should make because of her energetically connection to it. And then you would ask her to turn around this sheet what's written on there. Yeah? So if you decide to do, so you each are facilitating for the other. So you can, for example, decide, Rosemary, you want as a client, a test client, you want to make a decision, and Charlotte, you can decide you want Rosemary to facilitate an internal constellation, or vice versa, or both internal constellation, or both floor anchors, whatever comes to your mind. Yeah. And you will have longer time, and we will also have now first a demonstration anyhow. So in this demonstration, I normally pick one of you, and then everybody else can see it. In this case, I pick one of you, and the other one can see it. So that's how it goes today, strangely. Okay, who wants to volunteer for an internal constellation? Maybe I pick actually Rosemary because Charlotte was yesterday. So, Rosemary, what can we do for you? First of all, you have to unmute. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, I should come up with a constellation.
You have an issue. I'm sure you have an issue. So there's always something going on.
We could look at my relationship to my old brother.
Okay, you relate,
or would you like to look at my relationship?
I think, by the looks of you, I think we would very much like to look at your relationship. Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Right. So first of all, and we do it a little bit shorter than when I work with a client, that would take 45 minutes.
Wow.
We're not doing that now, right? So it's just a demonstration. Yeah? So we might not going through everything, and we might, just Rosemary, that you're aware. And if you want to still constellate it, we do it in a practice workshop then. Continue to work on it. Okay? So just to make sure. Okay. So Rosemary, I would like you to relax. Sit at the edge of your chair. Relax your shoulders. Wiggle your shoulders. Draw your, release your neck. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Very good. Now take a deep breath in your belly. Keep your spine upright. And exhale through your mouth. Open mouth, exhale. And inhale through your nostrils again. And out, exhale through your mouth.
Do I close my eyes?
You can close your eyes.
But I don't have to.
You will eventually close your eyes. Relax your eyes, your eyelids. Focus on the breath. With every breath, you relax more. With every breath, you go deeper and deeper into relaxation. Every inhale allows you to let go of thoughts, worries, or excitements of the day. Every exhale takes away what you don't need in this very moment. And you are so relaxed that you can enter your happy space where there are no worries, no fears, only happiness, living in this very moment with no yesterday and no tomorrow. And this happy space can have any shape or form, indoors or outdoors. It can be a meditation room, or it can be a meadow with flowers and bumblebees. Whatever comes first, pick that picture. And in this, you see yourself in this happy place. You are observing yourself. And then you're observing your partner. He comes into your happy space. Can you see yourself? Rosemary,
Mhm.
can you see your partner?
Mhm.
Good. Where are you looking at?
Not at him.
Where are you looking at?
The landscape.
Mm. And how do you feel?
I was happier when he was not there.
And now?
Uh, it's more like a threat.
Okay. You feel anxious? Afraid? Fearful?
Mm, Neutral to.
Uncomfortable?
That's the word.
Okay. All right. Now you are observing yourself and you're observing your partner. Tell me where your partner looks at.
He looks at me.
Hmm. How many steps away from you is he?
Maybe 5 or so.
Hmm. Look in his face. How does he feel?
I'm not sure if he is happy.
Hmm. Is there a movement from you or from him?
No.
Is there anybody else in the room or in the landscape?
My dog.
Ah, where's your dog?
Next to me.
Where is he looking at?
He's looking at me.
Very good. I would like you now to walk, to take one step forward in the direction you are looking.
Um,
Do you want to do that?
in a way, it's on the top of a mountain and there is a rail around it.
So you can't escape?
Exactly.
Okay. I want you to turn around to your partner
Mm.
and to look at him. Is that okay?
Mm.
Can you do that?
I can turn around, yeah. I can look at him, yeah.
Say to him, thank you
Thank you
for the time we spent together.
for the time we spent together.
We achieved quite a bit.
We achieved quite a bit.
We had good times.
We had good times.
We had not so good times.
And we had not so good times.
And it all made us the persons that we are now.
And it all made us the persons we are now.
And I'm happy with myself.
And I'm happy with myself.
So thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
How does that feel?
Feels okay?
Do you feel good or not so good?
More not so good.
Is there anything else you want to tell him?
I just feel like
Strangled?
yeah.
Say to him, now it's time for me to set myself free.
Now it's time for me to set myself free.
from the confines of this relationship.
From the confines of this relationship.
I'm better off on my own.
I'm better off on my own.
How does it feel?
It's still a little bit further up.
Further up towards your mouth? Okay. Say to him, you have heard me.
You have heard me.
That wasn't right.
Say again?
That wasn't right.
That wasn't right.
Is that true?
I don't know what you mean.
You had no right to do that.
You had no right to do that.
Is that true?
The right to do what?
To hurt me.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's true.
Good. Then say to him, and I give you all of this back.
And I give you all of this back.
Because it's not mine.
Because it's not mine.
It's what you did.
This, what you did. This sounds very good.
Very good. And I take back from you everything I gave you.
And I'm taking back from you what I all gave you.
All that is mine.
All that is mine. I'm not sure with that.
You gave him nothing?
Yeah, but I don't need it back.
Ah, so you gave him nothing but love. Very good. Okay. Now watch him. Is he giving you back, or is he taking back? Let's put it that way. Is he taking back what you give him? All the emotions, all the hurt, stories.
He's not doing anything.
What is he doing?
He gets angry.
Ah, okay. How do you feel about that?
You know why I'm used to it?
Mm-hmm. Okay. How does your dog feel about that?
He hates it.
Yeah. Very good. Say to him, I see your anger.
I see your anger.
Has nothing to do with me.
It has nothing to do with me.
It's yours.
It's yours.
You cannot give it to me anymore.
You can't give it to me anymore.
Now that I see it's only yours.
Now I see it. It's only yours.
It only belongs to you.
It only belongs to you.
There is no space in me to take it on.
There's no space in me to take it on.
How does that feel?
Yeah, this sounds good.
Very good. Now you go down and give to your dog a parcel that you have packed with all the anger and the hurt throughout the relationship that came from him. And you ask your dog to bring it over to him.
bring it over to him.
Is he doing that?
He likes it.
Very good. And ask your dog to put it in front of him
Put it in front of him.
and to come back.
Oh, he's already here.
Very good. And then you say to him, you can do whatever you want with it.
You can do with it whatever you like to do with it.
And I'm going now.
But I'm going now.
Then you turn around. And then you find the gate in the fence.
Mm.
And you open the gate.
Mm.
And you walk with your dog from this hill. Without looking back. How does that feel?
Oh, I like to walk with my dog, not looking back.
Very good. Very good. Okay, we leave it here. Take a deep breath, open your eyes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you for volunteering. So how was that for you, just to let us know, Charlotte and everybody else who's watching the video? How was it for you? Did you see the representative as if they would be in a workshop? Or what was different?
In a workshop, you see a different person. But here, I would see my husband and I would see me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could see the facial expression and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this, just so you experience it for yourself. This is how you conduct an internal constellation. It's basically like a constellation, just that the representatives are not needed because the person can show up themselves. And you use
Interesting.
and you use the same methodology. You use the orders of love. You use the words. You use everything else. It's nothing different. It's exactly what it is. It's a family constellation. Yeah. Good. Any
Thank
questions?
you.
Very good. Any questions before I send you in your breakout room? Charlotte? What does that mean? You have no questions. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it means no.
Okay. I thought, no, I'm not going in the breakout room.
No.
Okay, cool. So let me check. We have 20 more minutes to the break. So I would say, and you probably need 10 minutes each anyhow. So I would say we have this exercise 20 minutes. So each of you has 10 minutes. I will send you a message. So swap after 10 minutes. Don't be afraid to just wrap it up and swap. So you don't need to conduct the real thing. It's an exercise, So wherever you are, just stop it, bring it to a quick end, and then swap. And then we meet again in 20 minutes, and then we have a catch up, and you tell me how it went, and then we have a short break. Okay? Do that. All right. Okay, here we go.
Well, for me, I was reluctant to facilitate, or in a way to put someone through the whole process. And in a way, I have to say, Charlotte was very, very good. She said that she would like to be my guinea pig. And during the meditation, she helped me along really nicely. Thank you very much. And what we also wondered was, in a way, if you do 45 minutes, you would take more time to relax the person, I think.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
bring other members of the family and stuff.
And absolutely, you can bring, like in a normal constellation, you would bring everybody who needs to come, including ancestors, and you would see entanglements and everything. You would do the whole thing. Yeah.
I was quite surprised in a way that you really see the people, or anyway, I think it's very helpful that at the beginning you say you start to observing what do you do, where do you look at. I find what I also wonder is, in a way, I'm not sure if I could do that, or if you could do that with any kind of person, if they've never ever done anything like it. I'm not sure.
You know, I agree in a way. Some people are very closed and they don't relax, and they have a hard time to go in alpha state, and they would stay in their mind. Probably not gonna work with them, but you take it. Then you have your figurines. If you need somebody more visual. Somebody who's more visual, but other than that, it's a matter of practice. So coming back on that, yeah, I may haven't explained that in greater detail. When you do a full session like this, yes, you take more time to go into relaxation, into alpha state, and you take more time to go out of it as well. And you add more family members and see like with your brother now in this constellation, you definitely wouldn't stop there. You would probably look for where where you are the trigger for whatever he's entangled with, if you wanted to. So you could do that. What I want to add before we go on the break is because Charlotte mentioned that, or you mentioned that. Yes, it is very important that you guide your client to be very detailed about his observation. Because if you assume, you put them in the happy space, in the room or whatever this is, and then they will see the whole thing, that's not the case. They need to observe, they need to learn how to observe in the session. So you need to ask him, do you see yourself? Do you see what you wear? Do you see how you look? Do you see how you feel in there? Are there flowers? Are there other people? Are there this? You need to guide the client so many steps before you can be sure that he's really visualizing the constellation. Yeah? It doesn't happen like this. This is your guidance to do that. No? And you need to be very precise and not assumptive, as always. Do not assume anything or ask or tell them what they see. You want them to connect so deeply with their inner guidance, if you will, that they can actually see what you're going to work with, because you are completely relying on the feedback of your client because you don't see it. And if they make something up because they are ashamed that they don't, that they are not connected, and then they make something up, that this is, you don't want that. So you need to be sure that they really, really, really are connected, and that takes time. If you're not experienced, of course, you don't take that much time because you do the work. But if you have a client who hasn't done much work, he needs more guidance and more time, definitely.
So anyway, how is it if she makes it up?
Well, what can we say? So first of all, it wouldn't help them because it wouldn't heal anything. It doesn't make it worse, of course. I can't see possibly how it can make things worse, but it wouldn't help. That's one thing. It just simply wouldn't help. And then the other thing is that also they would lose trust in the method or in you, right? If they make things up and you don't, if you pick it on it and they make, then you just take them out there and say, okay, now we look at the figurines.
So anyway,
but if you don't pick it up and then you just go with it and you think you have a constellation and they in secret they made it all up and think, oh, that's not going to work for me, but I'm not going to tell her because I'm embarrassed, then it's just a client you don't see again. That's all.
So anyway, when do you make the decision to work with the figurines? Or
as soon as you pick on it, as soon as you realize that he's making it up.
Now, in a way, when someone comes to see you,
yeah,
when do you make the decision to work with what?
That's a field decision. It's guided by the field.
to work with figurines or with this. Okay.
Yeah, you will get the information.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on the break. Well deserved. It is 10 to 8, so let's just say we gather at 8. Then we have another hour for the second half. Yeah?
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Yeah.
Bye. Okay, so now we are talking about the use of other supplements or tools. I don't know whether you can say supplements, other ingredients or other tools to your toolkit. So you have all the tools in your toolkit and you don't miss a tool in your toolkit. So I quite like essential oils. That's my personal preference. I don't think it has any to do with esoterics. It is a natural product. It's from nature, and it contains the healing properties of the plants, which I think are basic knowledge for ancient healers. That was the only thing they had, yeah. And other than spiritual and spiritual connections and that. So on a physical level, they use they use plants, and of course, then from the plants, the essential oils is the part that has the properties to change frequencies. And as you know, everything is a vibration and a frequency and information. And this is exactly what the plants help with. So how do I find that helpful is, and this is obviously not for online because we don't have, I mean, we probably have actually the technology to send olfactoric scents through the web, but it's not giving to us as many other things yet, so we can't use it. So this is definitely for a personal one-on-one session, right? So essential oils is basically the oil that the plant produces. Why does the plant produce oils? Because the plant is stationary. It cannot move. It cannot go away from a threat, and it cannot move towards something that is nourishing her. So what does she do? Her tactic is to either attract benefactors or repel a malicious intents. Yeah. And she does this mainly with essential oils. So she can produce different essential oils, and these essential oils can do different things. Isn't that not just amazing in itself? So it can repel animals that want to eat her, or it can attract animals she wants to attract, like bees to fertilize or anything like this. And what's the best part is it can also heal the plant. So she produces her own oils to heal herself, yeah, to close wounds and to close down for heat or for cold or anything of this. So this is, if you go into that, of course, I'm not doing that in this course. It is absolutely stunning what nature comes up with to protect the plants and make sure they survive. And they are strong, and they are fertilizing actually our earth and are food for us as well. And of course, they are medicine for us as well. So I'm not using essential oil very much, not on my clients anyhow, for physical ailment. I use it for emotional distress. And this is when it starts to become really important or interesting to use it together with family constellations, because it's a great opener for a session, a one-on-one session. And I do an oil reading with my clients. So that means I let them choose 3 oils. I have all the doTERRA oils that you can have, over 50 from different plants and different mixes, and then I let them choose either with a tool or with intuition, 3 oils, and then I either know or I look up in an app or in a book what kind of what this reveals about the emotional status of the client. And through my, I don't know, 5 years experience now, when I started to work with essential oils together with family constellation, it is mind-blowing how accurate these informations are to reveal what the issue is the client has, and what direction we are going. So it really saves time as well. I don't need to ask so much things, and I know exactly where to start with the constellation when we do that. And also, the other good thing is the client starts to connect with its own issue on a very deep level when he's inhaling the oils, because these frequencies of the oils, they will connect with the frequency of the emotions, and they will bring them to light, and they will bring them to surface. And that also brings then memories or information up that we need possibly to conduct the family constellation. So it's a really valuable asset in my work, and I just want to put that out there, just in case you're interested in essential oils, to dive deeper and may use them. But of course, you don't have to, right? This is totally optional. So I use the oils mainly at the beginning of a session to open up the client, especially helpful with clients who are a little bit closed up and who come because they have something, but they're not quite sure how to talk about it, or if they should go straight into it, or if they more talk around it. And so this is normally a very good opener to bring the client closer to the hidden emotions that they come with. And I also like it or at the end of a session to help them. I give them a little essential oil roller with a personal mix from the oils they have chosen at the end of the session, so they can use it when they go home, and it will really enhance the energy shift that they have experienced in the family constellation, and make sure they are staying connected, and it continues for a few weeks until the oil has been used up. So that has also been proven to be really good, and it's also nice if you have a one-on-one client. That's the third pro in the use of essential oils, to give them something home, like a little gift. It's always, if it's meaningful, not just because, but it's if it's meaningful, I think it is nice that they have something that reminds them of the session, that they enjoy after the session as well, and that helps them as well. It does also create a calm environment. So this is when I use essential oils, like in a diffuser or in another way, but also when you inhale from your hands, or your client inhales from his hand, then already the room, especially if it's not a large room, is filled with these healing properties of the essential oils. Oh, one back. Hang on. What was that? That was too quick. To prepare the client. Yeah, I talked about that. So how do I do that? The essential oil intuitive reading is you choose an essential oil that you want to work with, and then you guide the client remotely to pick 3 essential oils, and I will demonstrate that quickly to you, or I will just talk about it. It's probably easier if we do it that way, because it's hard to share that online, obviously, as you know. And then I look up at the essential oils in a book. That's a certain book that reveals the emotions. And then, we wrap it up, and then we go into the constellation. As I said, I'm not mixing it. So just to repeat that, I'm not using the essential oils during the family constellation, yeah? I don't think that would be appropriate. I use it before, and then I stop doing that, and then we going into the constellation. Then we do the whole thing again with the beginning, the middle part, and the end of the family constellation. And then we might add again at the end of the whole session another quick going back to the essential oils or not. Depends on how it was going. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about are breathing exercises. That is also a great tool you can add to any one-on-one session when you want to conduct family constellations. The breath is also it's the most so the breath actually, and there are experts out there that can explain that brilliantly, and they do it all their life. The breath or breath exercise or pranayama in the yogic, in the Sanskrit language, actually has healing property. They can actually heal absolutely everything. So we are already born with our innate capability to heal ourselves by controlling the breath. Now, this is, mind-blowing. We don't learn that in school. No, we don't learn that in school, but it is true. And if you know for yourself or somebody else that is close to you when they are starting to panic of some reason, and you remind them to take 3 deep breaths into the belly, like really deep breaths, they calm down. You can't be in panic and breathe deeply. It's impossible. Yeah. So this is already a simple exercise where you can prove that the breath has an extremely important impact in your life. And we are all running through this life and never thinking about our breath, and therefore adopting this very shallow breath in the upper part of the lungs. And that is standard. That's how we live, right? And then when you go to a yoga class, and all of a sudden you've been introduced to Ujjayi breath. Do you know what Ujjayi breath is? Have you been to yoga classes? Okay, so you might want to pick that up, because it is amazing. Then for all of a sudden you've been told to watch your breath and connect your movement with the breath, and that the breath goes much deeper. And it's actually reversed, because your belly comes out when you inhale, and when you exhale it comes in. And when you have the shallow, normal day-to-day breath, it's exactly opposite. I can't do that anymore, because I'm practicing yogic breath since 9 years. But I remember before that it was so weird to do that, because it was opposite to what we naturally do. Not naturally, but what we are used to do, because that's how we live. Everybody lives if they have no breathing exercise. So I'm urging you, being on the training, to start to do breathing exercises for yourself, because you cannot use anything ever. You cannot give anything that you haven't first discovered for yourself. Yeah. So you need to discover for yourself. And when you remember just what you did now in the breakout exercise, you guide each other into a deep breath first, or 2 or 3 or 4, right? And you know how relaxing that is. And you know what deep breathing is. Now, I would like you to continue to do that for yourself. And we say, let's say 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So you do 5 times a day, 5 of this deep belly breath where the belly comes out. Yeah. So you take 5 inhale. So you count to 5 on your inhale. Then you hold for 5. Then you exhale for 5. And then you do that 5 times repeatedly. And then you do this exercise 5 times a day. It just takes a minute. So no excuse. No excuse you don't have the time. Yeah, it takes a minute or 2 to do that in the morning. Whenever you think about it, it doesn't need to be 5 times, but try to make it 5. Just make it just this deep belly breath. That's all. Just make it your own, so it becomes natural for you. And then you can also guide your clients in a convincing way to do that and relax. And the healing benefits that you will gain from this regular breathing exercise is manifold. And by the way, you also will start to eat less, because your body is relaxing. That is actually, I have discovered that for myself. So it does a lot of things in many, many, many different ways. So now we talked about the benefits of it. I explained the deep belly breath, or yogic breath, or Ujjayi breath, or whatever it's called, that I would like you to practice regularly. And then there are others. There's an open mouth breathing, which we often do in family constellations as well. when we want the client to release something, yeah. So you want to guide the client to be able to take a deep inhale and then it's this open mouth breath which comes with a sound where everything can come out. Yeah, a lot of people are tense because they hold things in. They hold things in, and now when they do this breathing exercise and they have the chance to have an open mouth breath, then this all comes out all of a sudden, no? And it feels really good. So practice that for yourself as well. Yeah. And then we have also these are the simple, they are of course much more complicated breathing exercises, but we are going through the super simple ones that you can do for yourself without any guidance, and that you can then also guide your client through. So observing the natural rhythm of the breath is the other one, because if your client has the shallow breath, then when they start to observe it, they deepen it. You can't help it. So you just close your eyes and you do it for yourself. You just try to let go of the breath and just observe the normal breath that you have unconsciously the whole day and the whole night. And then you really feel you want to deepen it, and that's a good thing. So that's another exercise you can do for yourself and with your client. Yeah. So breathing, especially in one-on-one sessions, are, I think, a big part of connecting with the client, connecting with the field, letting go of tension, letting go of the mind even, and open up to the morphogenetic field. And also in my workshops, also the online workshops, I always start with some deep breath, either in a guided meditation or to allow the representative to connect with the field. And it helps tremendously. So I look at the time. We may do an exercise to the breathing techniques. You have all experienced at least the two first, the deep belly breath and the open mouth breath, when we work together all the time. So I don't think I need to exercise that. So just bear that in mind. If we have time left over, we do a breathing exercise together. But I want to continue now just to make sure that we finished on time. Yeah? Okay, so guided meditations. Now, guided meditations are different to internal constellations, and I would like to point that out. So you're not mixing that up. An internal constellation is where you are guided by the field. Yeah? So you're not assuming anything, and you're not asking rhetorical questions or manipulative questions to your client. You inquire, completely open. What do you see? Where are you? What do you see? What do you feel? You're not saying, do you not feel cold where you are, or something like that. Yeah, okay. So a guided meditation is where you assume for your client everything. You want to take your client on a visual tour. So this is the big difference. So a guided meditation has not the effect of a family constellation. A guided meditation has nothing to do with a family constellation. Yeah. However, it is a beautiful tool to guide the client into a space where he can conduct conduct his own family constellation in an internal constellation, for example. And we're always doing that. We guide, and it's kind of a guided meditation if we go to the happy space. Because you guide your client exactly what to see and where to go until they are there. And then you start the family constellation when they pick their own picture. That's then the start, But before that, you tell them where to breathe, where to look at. Right. Now, other guided meditations that I use in workshops mainly, not so much in one-on-ones, but sometimes in one-on-ones, is where I have a kit set, like the plumber's toolbox. I have like 3 or 4 guided meditation that I practice for myself, that I then use if I feel it's the right time to do so. And some of the guided meditations I know from Bert Hellinger, some of the guided meditations I know from Malcolm Salford, and one of the guided meditation is on my website. When you subscribe to the newsletter, you get the gift, a guided meditation. And that is a guided meditation where you are creating the whole scenario for the client. Yeah. And why would we do that? Because we want to allow them to come to a space where they have never been before in a very safe way. And that has multiple reasons. A, we want them to prepare them for a family constellation by connecting them to their own family system. And that is the gift, basically. Yeah. And then there is another version that I have. The gift is my meditation, but then there's another version that Bert Hellinger uses. And he is guiding the workshop participants in this meditation into a dungeon, into a like a family grave. This graves from I don't know, from rich people in former times. They dug a huge room, and then they put all the family members had their what is the English term for where you put bodies in? Their tombs or
It's called you can say a tomb, but you
Yeah,
call it a family
a tomb or coffin maybe.
What
Coffin?
the coffin is just the box that they go in.
Ah, yeah. So it's a tomb maybe, right?
Yeah. We'll
So
go
you
with
see,
that.
so it's like a shelf. So you have the coffins or the stone coffins or whatever they used. They are like shelves. They are up, in the walls of this room, and then there are
Yeah.
their names, and then there is space for more family members and stuff. And so that was his way to guide. It sounds a bit spooky, but it works, and it was just his way to connect the workshop participants with their family members. Yeah. So you go down in this tomb and see your family members there, dead or alive. So that's another guide. Then there's a guided meditation that I like. I'm pretty sure I definitely did that in a few workshops, but maybe you were not on them. And I might do this meditation with you because you might haven't heard that before. That is what I have on Malcolm Southwood, and he himself had that been kind of channeled to him with the words, you should spread this meditation as far and as wide as you possibly could, because it's very healing for the world. And I'm very happy to pass it on in my workshops as well. And this is a meditation that has to do with collecting depths, yeah, and giving back what is not yours, right? So it's kind of so you are closing. It gives you the chance to close all kind of unfinished business you have with people, not necessarily only family members, also others. No. So that's another. And then, of course, you can make up your own guided meditation. And that would be even preferable. But be careful and test it first. Yeah? You have to test it. You have to file it, file it, make sure you're only using words that are powerful and no as and ohs and maybes. And now you have to guide your kind. You cannot say, I invite you. When I hear that, I want to invite you to. This is not guidance. It's giving options. A guide is not giving options. Understand that. A guide is saying, I know the way. I'm guiding you. You are following. Okay? So just think of it. If you're standing, you have a tour guide, yeah, a tour guide, or let's say a nature guide. You want to go in the mountains, and he's going up a path, and you don't know where you are, and you know when you get lost, you're gonna die because you're not surviving the night. And so this is why you have a guide. So you have a guide in front of you, and he's going on a path, and you're following, feeling very safe and very happy. And then you come to a fork, like where the a Y section where the path is dividing into two, and then your guide says, okay, here we are, so now I invite you to tell me where you want to go, and you freak out because that's not what a guide is doing, right? No, the guide says, he doesn't even say anything. He goes to the fork and goes right, and you are following because he knows where to go. This is guidance. This is also the guidance of a facilitator in a family constellation. You know, you don't give options, and you don't invite people to do anything. You do it, and they follow you because they want you to do it. Yeah. So you have to own that. In a guided meditation, you have to really to own it, that you are the guide. So you practice it before, you write it down, then you cross out all the words that are not strong, that are not guiding, all the words that give options or that are weak or that don't mean anything, or everything that's clutter. And then you speak it out loud, and then you tape it, or you record it on your phone, and then you listen to it yourself with closed eyes. And then you feel if this is something you want to share. And if you think that's rubbish, I don't want to share that, that's doing nothing, then you do another one, And if you find one that you think, oh, that's really strong, I really feel that has an impact, then you repeat that and repeat that and repeat that until it becomes your second nature to say it. Because if you don't say it in a very convincing, assertive voice, they are not following you. It's like the guide who is looking right and left and scratching his chin and the head on the path, and obviously signaling that he is worried what to do. And then you get worried when you're in the bush with somebody like that. So that's why you need to practice your guided meditation, and then you stick with the wording when you are with a client or in a workshop and you want to use it. Yeah. And it is great if you have your own meditation, but make it really a piece of art. And don't think, oh, I'm just winging it every time I see somebody. That's not guidance. A guide knows exactly what they are doing. Yeah? Every step of the way. So let's see that. So we talked about connecting with the family system, which is my gift on the website that you can, of course, also use. So if I'm not saying you have to do your own. You can use mine. That's no problem at all. You can repeat it in your own words, or you can play it, whatever you want to do. That's open. That's all up to you. That is a typical guided meditation to connect with the family system. Now, you can also make a guided meditation by getting support from a family member. You would guide your client in a place where he can meet a family member and ask for support and blessings in all of this. I do that also frequently for the upcoming family constellation as a support for that, right? You can also do, and I also use this frequently, connect with the inner child, because the inner child, or the child is not even the inner child, but the client as a child is the soul. So you can always, ask your client to see in a guided meditation that you guide towards that, and then it peaks in that he sees himself as a child, preferable under 5 years old, and then you would allow him to connect and take them into his heart. you know, to connect and unite with the soul again, who was probably due to childhood trauma left behind, which happens all the time. Yeah. Then we have this that we might do today, the letting go of foreign energies, giving back, the meditation I have from Malcolm Southwood. You can also guide a meditation to release family members, right? If you feel the need, you know, you could ask, and this would be like a mix of guided meditation and open meditation. That's the same with letting go of energies and everything else. You would guide the client safely to a place where they then visualize their own people. You don't need to guide them to see people. You let them, other than the child maybe, but you let them, you know, if you say, and then you say, now you see, and we will do that in the sample, and now you see, you know, you see people coming, and you don't need to guide them which people these are, because this is now a personal. So everybody has their own people, and then when they have that, you can also then say you can either connect or you can release them. You know, whatever whatever the field tells you is the right thing with this client. You know, to release them and let them go. Okay, so I think we do this exercise, but at the end, so I want to go through the charts before I do that. Yeah. Energy, emotional, and spiritual healing. Use your own methods or the ones from Module 4 to combine that with family constellation, but make sure you are not mixing it up. I just want to repeat that you know that. They are best practiced in one-on-one sessions because it's very hard to work with the emotions and energies of a group, obviously. So this is something that you want to probably practice with a friend in a one-on-one. You can integrate them into a family constellation. We have done that in the training with Bert Hellinger. You know this what is EFT? EFT is it called? This method, yeah. So we have learned that in our training there, and we have actually, I was actually doing a session with my group to try out a family constellation with these Klopfen. What is this English term? Klopf method.
Is it
tapping? Tapping. Thank you. Tapping. So I'm not using that anymore. I just left it behind. But this is something that you could actually integrate in the session. I would probably not recommend to do that, especially not when you begin. Just stick with the pure family constellation, and if you do that, don't do that in the middle of it. It is confusing. So just at the beginning or the end, maybe. In between, only if you're really experienced in both methods. So to combine them would be easy for you. Okay, and then we have the closing of the one-on-one session. As I said before, stick to the time frame. Plan a time at the end of the session for the closing. 5 minutes, about, I think it's enough for a one-on-one session. Make sure the client is out of alpha state. When he comes out of the guided meditation, when he comes out of internal constellation, when he comes out of a regression or a rebirthing or whatever you do in your one-on-one session, when you use other than figurines where they are not in alpha state. Oh, my battery is going low, but it will last for the next 20 minutes. Otherwise, I can actually swap that. And reserve this 5 minutes definitely or more that they come out of alpha state. So how does a client come out of alpha state? You guide them back into the room. They are sitting. So they are not wherever they are in alpha state, in the internal places. They are now in the physical room where they're actually sitting and they feel it. So I always recommend to say, feel the weight of your body on your chair. If you feel that weight, you are out of alpha state. Yeah? And then then you can also suggest you to feel relaxed. when you come out of alpha state, because it, just to make sure they are not tense. And also to open the eyes. If they cannot open eyes, they are not out of alpha state. Yeah, that's a typical sign. In closing, avoid to talk about the session in retrospective. I think we talked about that often. It is good to let just the session, how can I say, swing, and let it swing for a few days or weeks or whatnot, and don't try to pull details out there and talk about that, and it makes it less effective, instead of more. If a client wants to know what you have done because he didn't understand anything, you might choose to pick one detail or one thing and just briefly talk about that. Might be just to make him feel comfortable, because you don't want to say, I don't tell you anything. but don't kind of excerpt the whole session like a surgeon would do when he's operating. That wouldn't be appropriate, and it really weakens also the session, right? Make a plan where to go from there. Of course, that's always good. It doesn't mean you need the client back, because our work does not require the people to come back. And this is why some who wants to earn money with it and they want everybody to come back, they kind of invent the need. But there is no need. A family consultation is in itself a closed treatment. Yeah. Of course, most come back because they enjoyed it, and there's of course more issues they want to look at. Yeah. But this one issue that you have dealt with in the constellation, in the session, that is done. There is no picking up there and doing it in another session and picking up where you left off or something. That's not like a psychotherapy or so. But a plan to go from here is like telling them they can come back if they want to, if they have a new issue, or invite them onto your workshops. Maybe you have workshops or the other work you do. Give them a brochure about your other work, so you're cross-selling. They might be interested in other stuff that you do. Don't forget that. So that's obviously appropriate once the session is closed. And also ask for a review, especially when you begin. It's really helpful to have reviews for yourself. It's like feedback. And then also to give it to others, because they want to know what others think, of course. Like, this is very important. And you can schedule a next appointment, but only if the client really wants it. So never put pressure on the client and ask them, say, like, if you want to come back, you need to make an appointment now because I have a really tight calendar, or any kinds of these pressures, right? This is not appropriate in the work we do. When the client said, I really want to come back, can we do an appointment? And then there's no need to say no. That's all I want to say, yeah? Okay, troubleshooting. The client cannot get off alpha state. What are we doing? We have to guide him back to where he left. Wherever you were in your treatment, wherever you were in your session, he has to go back. Yeah. Something has not been dealt with. You just go back and you just take 1 or 2 or 3 steps further from where you were. Yeah. And then you guide them out of the session alpha state again. And you always finish with you say you open your eyes, or when the problem has been solved, you can open your eyes, or you feel your body on the chair, sitting, the weight of your body. You're in your room. You hear my voice. You know that you're in the session. You know the session comes to an end. Now open your eyes. I have never had a case when I had to do it 3 times. So I only had cases where I had to go back once, continue with whatever cancellation I was doing, and then bring him out, and then it was normally okay. I never had to do that like a ping pong thing back and forth all the time. So I don't think that's a problem. So you do a short regression to the session where you have ended, and then you lead out of the session and the alpha state again. That's basically what you do. So the next big thing is, what do you do when the client is not happy? And we are all heartbroken, especially when we begin. You know, we put our heart and soul into it and our best knowledge and everything, and then the client is not happy. So first of all, I assure you that most of the clients will be happy, right? They might not say it, and they might, and it might not. You not say, "Are you happy now?" It's probably also what you don't ask, but you can assume that. If they are not happy, most likely they will send you an email, or they will. They don't say that after the session anyhow. They will send you an email, and they would probably want their money back because they are not happy. Something like that. So how do you deal with that? You have to swallow that as a bitter pill of your work. There will be always the oddball. I don't know a number. 1 out of 10, 1 out of 50, 1 out of 100. I don't know. Who is not happy. And it's not your job. You just have to remember it's not your job to make everybody happy. You do what you do, and they take from it what they take from it. Yeah. However, if there's a feedback, especially when you begin, they are not happy because, let's say, it was so noisy outside of the room and they couldn't, they just couldn't concentrate. That's a good feedback. Then you have to choose a different location because you wouldn't be the only one, who feels it. But if somebody just says, I want my money back because I don't think this worked for me, and I don't like the way you conducted the family constellation. Yeah, then you are actually, I'm not coming to the point to know that you have actually a mental impaired client there. Yeah. And obviously you don't pay them anything back because it's not your job to make them happy. You had a session, the session was done. But you also don't need to worry about what you have done because there's nothing you could have done to make them happy. Nothing. Right? So you just have to shake that up like ducks shaking up any aggression after they have fought. And then there's a couple of troubleshooting. So when you have the client still there and it doesn't seem to be relieved, not happy as relieved, check if the client has left the morphic field. He might be still in the morphic field. Yeah, so that's one reason. That's not in the aftermath of everything. That's during the session when you come to a closing. You can also, and I sometimes like to do that if I still have the client in the room and he said, I'm not sure if this is not all, was this all? So talk to the client about expectations, right? Because if they come with big expectations, they can only be disappointed. Yeah, because nobody can meet their expectations when they are high. And it has nothing to do with the morphic field. Yeah, the expectations are mind-born. So you can say to them, okay, so what were your expectations then? And then they said, oh, my expectations is I go, like if you have somebody with cancer, I'm exaggerating, yeah, just to make it clear. Somebody comes to you with cancer, and then they say, oh, my expectations, well, I'll get out here and the cancer is gone. And you know how ridiculous this is. But then you can talk about this expectation. Say, the expectations were ridiculous, not my work, So that's also a way to turn it around. And also, when the client is kind of like says, I really don't feel any different now, yeah, then and that you can actually hear from your client at the end of the session. Then you can you can tell your client that these work requires the constellation continues after the session is finished, and that it continues in a way that it will find its way into the physicality over time, and due to Bert Hellinger, up to 6 months. Yeah. So from the moment that you're conducting the family constellation, to up to 6 months is a time frame where a difference will happen in the life of the client. Could be subtle different, could be big. We don't know. But it doesn't need to be at the end of a session. So if you can give this your client on the way, then he might be much happier as well. And if the client is not happy because they have a strong feeling they were just at the middle of something and it's not finished, then you just make a new appointment. You're not picking it up, but you give the client the assurance you make a new appointment, he can come back and we continue to work. That doesn't mean that you're working on the same thing. That just means to make him happy that he can come back. Because when the client comes back, something will have happened in the meantime. Something will have manifested, and they always come with a new issue, in my experience, because the old issue in this meantime would have settled after the first session. And then yes, Rosemary, you go.
How do you check that he has left the morphic field?
How do you check? Well, they will let you know. They will let you know. You don't need to check that. They will tell you that.
Yeah, it just said check that he has.
You mean, okay, I understand. Okay, now I got you. So how do you check he left it? I mean it in a way that I say just be sure for yourself that they have left the morphic field. If there are signs that they have not left the morphic field, then you would go back there and bring them out there again. Yeah.
How?
Just to go back where you were in the constellation and then guide them out the alpha state again.
We are just talking about the alpha state. Yeah.
It's practically the same. Yeah. Because they are connecting with the morph. If you have it sounds more complicated than it is, right? I just wanted to kind of bring that in to complete everything. But normally you don't have an issue with it. There is no issue. You say, okay, that it is, especially in the one-on-one when you use figurines or an internal constellation, and then you say, okay, we leave it here. This is normally the sentence with where you can assure that everybody's leaving the morphic field. We say we leave it here. If you forget any of those, and if you just say, okay, so let's say you do an internal constellation and you have a movement there, and then you say, okay, come out now. You would say something very weak like, okay, all good now, or something. I can't even say it, but something not very assertive. That is closing what you just have done. Then they might stay in alpha in the morphogenetic field. And they feel a bit lofty and not grounded and a bit confused even because they can't really decide, are they now representing somebody or are they back themselves? And but it's really not very often, and it will be very obvious. And I'm pretty sure you would know what to do when that happens.
Thank you.
No, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so follow-up one-on-one sessions mean you send probably in the follow-up email to your client. You can decide if you want to do that, but most people do. You invite to join other events, yeah? Maybe you have a free friendship circle, and this is great if you have new clients that you invite them to widen these circles, which is a great exchange of experiences and in a lighthearted way, in a social way. Make an appointment for another session. You may give them special offers, like if you have 5 sessions, you have 1 free or whatnot. Yeah. If you have a newsletter, let them sign up to the newsletter, and don't forget again to ask them to leave a review in the follow-up. Yeah, if they haven't done that before, to collect these reviews. I just want to tell you, I think, Rosemary, you have one already, that I have this I have ordered these figurine boards again, so I have it now on stock, because I think, Rosemary, you got the last one. So now I have the new ones. In case you're interested, Charlotte, I'm importing these figurine boards from Switzerland. They are handmade. Oh, hang on, I'll go back. They are handmade from a Center of Disabled People in Switzerland, and they fold together. They have magnets, and they're together, and you can travel with them. They are really, really handy. And they have these little figurines in the sides, and then you have your board that you can move around, and you can move the figurines on it. And they have different sizes and colors, and they work perfectly fine. And they are specially designed for family constellation. It's a family constellation board, because in Germany and somewhere else in the world, that is actually a business, other than in New Zealand or in Timbuktu. So let me know if you would be interested, and I sort that out for you. So, okay, here we go. Congratulations. We have well, Rosemary has finished her modules. Congratulations. And just in case you don't know, Rosemary, this is not the end. This is the beginning, because we have just laid the foundations, right? And now the real work starts. The real work starts is with soaking up the experiences in the morphogenetic field from as much as you can in workshops and practice workshops, and in practicing with friends and family, and reading, and of course also in writing, if you want a certificate, starting to write your essay, no? So this work is just starting now. And don't forget, of course, and most trainees do that, to rewatch the videos often, because you have overheard so many things and there's so many information, and when you rewatch it, you will practically, it is like you hear it for the first time, because you're focusing on other information and that you don't know yet. Yes.
With this essay or whatever at the end, do you have somewhere an example we could, or what you would like to hear in it, or?
There is something in the overview of the training. I have made a write-up, but I'm in the process of also making a little paper for that, because I've been asked this from practically every trainee. So I will make a little paper, but it's basically that you choose your own topic, and that you write about 2,500 words minimum, but not too much more, and that you are conveying that you have understood the methodology of Bert Hellinger, your own experience with it, and you choose, and because it's a broad, it's too broad, you choose your own topic and write it in the light of this topic. So I had one of the trainers, Darshan, was writing about adoptions, and Francesca is writing about the interrupted movement towards the mother, and I forgot the others. These are the only ones I have present at the moment in my head. Anyhow, so you choose a topic from the course, and then you write about that because you're interested in it, something that piques your interest.
So in a way, you write about the topic, but in a way, you don't have to have, or you did family constellations about it. It's not about.
Yes, I would like you to also talk about your own experiences. It's not a theory
on this topic.
On this topic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But we have enough time to talk about that again.
When we met in front of the fire.
Yeah, no, more when we met at the training gatherings. And this is why we have the training gatherings, to talk about exactly that, where you are with your paper and what questions you have and what help you need. Yeah? So it's important, it's super important, and that's also for you, Charlotte, and everybody else who's watching the video, that the training gatherings and the practice workshops is absolute essential. And at the most, after the record, besides the recordings of the videos, most essential events to come to. Yeah. because here we can talk in detail about all questions you have. Yeah? And then we will also look at everything in the practice workshop and how you conduct it and how you feel about it, and you get the feedback from others and you get the feedback from me, and this is what you need. Yeah, this is what you need. Okay. And then of course the 10 workshops to give you more exposure to the field and more observation on how to conduct, how to facilitate, and also what kind of just to observe different constellations. Yeah. Okay. What is here? Yeah. Repeat the teaching content, watch the video recordings, and read about Bert Hellinger's family constellation. You can watch YouTube videos, you know, all the video videos we have on our community training website. There are heaps of Bert Hellinger videos that have gathered by the trainees. And please feel free, if you find a Bert Hellinger family constellation video that's not on there, just add it, yeah? Because this is kind of our library. That is, it's like Wikipedia. It's growing with the trainees adding to it, yeah? So you can share when you find something interesting. Even if it's in a different language, he has a lot in Spanish. If they have English subtitles, it's brilliant. So that's enough, good enough to share. Practice, 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 of course, because you have to turn all this information in knowledge. You have no knowledge if you only have information. Knowledge is experienced information, yeah? That's important. So this experience is now the next step. And then, if you live your life in the light of the orders of love now, this is another notch, then you will turn it into wisdom. Yeah, the knowledge. So you're not only applying that when you want to work, but you become your work, right? Okay, so continue with personal growth by working on your own issues and emotions, and you will drop any tendencies to judge and criticize yourself and others, and then you become love, right? Yes. Okay, questions here, and then I go with you into the meditation that I have promised you as last but not least.
I don't have any questions. I just want to thank you. I really, really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I didn't agree with everything.
What? What did you not agree with? The first thing I ever heard.
Maybe I tell you that when we sit in front of the fire.
Well, I'm very interested in that. Okay.
Maybe you only tell her, Rosemary, after you've done your paper and had it marked.
Yeah, exactly. That's very wise. Very wise, Charlotte. Good tactic. Okay, no, I'm very happy to have you on the course, Rosemary, and of course you, Charlotte, and everybody else. And nothing gives me more joy than convey that, and to see you thrive and becoming your own person and shed all these dramas and obstacles in your way and help others in your area with these fantastic tools. And yeah, so that's joyful for me. Very joyful.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Okie doke. So I stop sharing here. We take the next 10 minutes for you to experience this meditation of giving back. So in a guided meditation, you can actually sit comfortable. And it's a long evening, and you also lean back. Don't fall asleep. Close your eyes. Focus on your breath. Deep into your belly. The breath goes all the way to the bottom of your spine. And yeah, then bring in your navel and fully exhale. Do that 3 times. To release any tension, any stress. And then continue to deeply breathe while you're letting go of thoughts, emotions, memories. Just be yourself. Relaxed and calm. And I want you to visualize in front of your inner eyes a mount, a little hill that is easy to climb on. Maybe this grass hill, maybe it's made out of rocks or sand even, whatever comes to your mind. And then there is a path, an easy path to go to the top of this mount, this little hill. And you see yourself entering this path. And you walk up to the top of this mount. And once you are there, you see that there is an armchair prepared. Could have any shape or form that you imagine. It's comfortable. It's almost like a throne. Maybe it has ornaments or symbols that have meaning to you. And your name is written on it. So you sit down in this chair. And to the right of this chair, there is a heap. To the left of this chair, there is a heap of wrapped gifts. They are wrapped in paper, colorful, lovely paper, and bows in different colors. And they have different sizes and shapes. And to the right, and on every gift is also written a name. And to the right of this armchair is a staff about the height of your body. And on top of the staff is a beautiful, huge crystal. And the crystal is white, see-through, clear. And you look at the gift and you read every name that is written on there. And you invite all the people with these names to come and visit you on this hill now. And you see on the horizon all these people appearing. And they come up the path to your throne. And they all gather in front of you, curious why you have called for them, and happy to see you in one way or the other. And you look at all of them, and then you get up and you pick the first gift. And you read out the name that is written on there. And the person with this name steps forward. And you say to him or her, "This is yours. I have carried it for so long. Now I want to give it back to you. And I invite you to give me what you owe for this gift in form of your love. Hold back into this crystal. And you see how this person takes this gift and says thank you. And a beam from his heart in a particular color is going into your crystal. And the crystal is illuminated in this color of this light that was coming from the heart of this person who took this gift. And then you say to him, thank you for coming. And then he is released, and you see him walking away with this gift. And you grab to your left another gift and read out the name on it. And this person will step forward, and you say again, this is for you. I have carried it for long, and now it's time to give it back to you. And please give me the love you have held back now in this crystal. And you see how this person says thank you. And a beam of light in his particular color is coming from his or her heart and gets absorbed by the crystal, and the crystal is illuminated in this color. And then you see him or her walking away with the gift, with a parcel. And so you continue to grab one after the other from your heap and call out the names that are on there. And you say to each of them, this is yours, I give it back to you. I'm not going to carry it any longer. Please give me the love you have held back in this crystal as an exchange for that. You see all the people giving their light and love from the heart into your crystal until the crystal is glowing in all the different colors. And you take your time and you repeat this procedure with one after the other. Until the last person has been called out and the last gift has been handed out and the last ray of light has found its way into the crystal. And then when everybody is gone, get up, you step to the crystal, take him off the staff, and you hold it into your chest. And you see all the love from the crystal going into your heart, to your heart space. You're soaking up the love that belonged there all along. And you take note of how you feel. And then you go back onto the path where you came from. Descend from the hill. And come all the way back into the room where you are sitting. You feel the heaviness of the body on the chair. You feel relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed. And in your own time, you open your eyes. Holy shoot, Rosemary, what did you swallow?
I just have a little bit of cough. It's all good.
Okay. So, how did you experience that? Just a brief check-in before we leave it for today. Charlotte.
Nice, very warming and
Mm-hmm.
calming, giving back stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Good.
feel nice.
Yeah.
I
And you, Rosemary?
What do we give back?
The stuff that no longer serves.
Oh, okay.
Well, I did anyway.
Whatever you have to give back. It's mainly emotions.
You mean negative or positive, or
I couldn't hear you.
mainly negative or positive, or
Well, it's normally negative. Mm. People are dumping all sorts of emotions on you all your life. I don't know whether you have noticed. And you, Charlotte,
What?
have you noticed?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very, very nice experience. Really nice.
Yeah, thank you, Maya.
And that was really nice. And I really could feel like I just imagine my brother coming up, just what we constellated earlier on. Wow, I could feel all this warmth going to this crystal.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, good.
More,
yeah.
More than with the other ones.
Yeah.
Now, thank you so much.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. So you can see that on the video. You can make notes. You can use it, and please use it when you work with others.
Thank you.
This meditation has been given to us in order to be spread around. Yeah? Okay. I see you both. I extremely hope next weekend. We have a full weekend. We have a practice workshop. We have a training gathering, and we have an open workshop. Yeah?
Wow.
Don't forget to book the open workshop and to write down the dates for the practice workshop and the training gathering, because you don't get a reminder for it. you just press on the training community on the link. Yeah? And then you are in. Yeah.
Oh, one more question. If we want or should repeat module because we missed it, how do we do that?
You let me know. So you just send me an email saying I need to repeat that and that module and part, and then I send you a coupon code for that.
So anyway, if I missed of a whole module, if I missed a day, I still could do the whole module.
Yes, yes, you can repeat the whole module. Yes, yes.
Now I sound very eager, right?
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Good night, Unite.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.